Good morning, everybody. So, today I want to touch on the topic of symbology. So, we use symbols in this, what we term as a reality. Symbology is numbers, letters, shapes, colors. For instance, in our numerical system, we use numbers, which are basically symbols. And what we do with those is we create equations, we create measurements, and so on. Also, in our alphabet, letters are actually symbols. So we use a lot of symbology today. For instance, when we create or we spell a word, we put some symbols together. And through teachings, these symbols mean certain things. So, for instance, when we create a word, we are actually spelling out a word. A word is actually a spell. We put energy behind that, whether it be positive or negative energy. We project it. We use tonality when we speak, when we spell, when we cast. What do we do when we use tonality? We speak, we cast it out. And that creates a resonance. Somebody receives it. For instance, look at the word words. There are a bunch of symbols put together. Now, we have been programmed to believe that this has meaning. This is what it means when we spell this word or we spell words. Now, you can take the word words and switch the letters or the symbols around and create the word swords. We can use words to defend ourselves in what we call an argument. It's like a battle of words. Or you draw your sword to defend yourself against someone else who has their swords drawn. We go into battle, a battle of words. Now, you can cut someone with a word or a sword. You can kill somebody just by giving that order, projecting it. Or we can take those swords or those words and defend ourselves, defend our inner selves. Now, you have to remember, every word that we spell has a meaning. We've been programmed to believe this is what that means, these symbols together. And depending on what type of energy you're using to project that word or that spell or those swords will determine. You can take a word like love, okay? We are taught it has a symbol, it has a color. They use the symbol of the heart. They use the color red. They use these symbols and they put them together. This is love. But what actually is love? It's a feeling, because these symbols and these letters roll through your mind, and what's been programmed into your subconscious will have an emotional reaction, will cause an emotional reaction. So your body will produce, or your brain will produce, that feeling, that emotion, love, because the brain refers to those colors and those symbols, or it comes out and it has an impact on you. So what you determine, what you understand as love to be, will determine how you feel. And it all goes back to the way you've been taught, the way you've been programmed to allow these emotions to create your actions. So somebody says to you, I love you. What it does is it passes through your senses, goes through the conscious brain, and where in the subconscious, where the understanding is deep rooted, it will create your action where you will cast it back out. I love you too. And that all depends on what state of mind you're in. If you are open, if you are emotionally available, which means you are open mentally to receiving love, then you will project it. But if you have your sword drawn, you have your walls up, you will not allow it. And you will block it. You are not open to receive it. So understanding first off, the intention behind it, the energy that's put behind it. Like you could have somebody who says, yeah, I love you too. What type of emotion is behind that? There's not much. That person is not open to receiving it as much as you are. You don't have your sword drawn. You don't have your guard up, but you do use discernment. And what can happen is if you project it and it doesn't get reflected back to you, then you start to use discernment and say, okay, I realize that this person is not open. They're not able to project the same level of intensity or energy that I am. They're more closed. Their guard is up too high. And usually that happens because they have done what you're doing right now, and they received the same projection that you did, or because that person is reflecting on you. It's like shining light on a mirror. If you shine light on a mirror, it will project that light back. The same thing with love. If they're mirroring you and you project that, then it will reflect back to you. But if they're not reflecting and they're not projecting it back, what they're projecting back is lack of self-love. Because when you are able to love yourself, you have that openness and that ability to love someone else. So they will reflect it. You will reflect it back to them. So it's given back with the same intensity. It's given back. So remember, words can be used as swords. You can cut somebody. You can kill somebody with a word. Okay? So look in the mirror. Because when you look in the mirror, you see your own reflection. The first thing you should do is tell yourself in the mirror, I love you and I respect you and I will always have your back. Then you can go out there and you can meet other people who are open. Because once you start to practice that self-love, that self-awareness, you'll go out there and you'll be able to tell using discernment that if they're going to project it back. But understand that that takes time because people have to get to know you. And eventually you'll see through a person's actions what state of mind they're in. Are they insecure? Do they get jealous easily? Are they closed off? Are they emotionally shut down? You know, it's like, yes, you want it so bad, okay? But understand that it takes time, because the more time that you spend by yourself, the more you tend to love your own company. But eventually you want to go back out there because you don't want to stay in seclusion forever. But you can't take on that mindset and think everyone out there is like that person that you had that interaction with. Go out there, meet different people, get to know people. But use discernment. Because not everyone is in the state of mind that you're in. Not everyone is emotionally available like you are. People are going through things. They could have a lot of stress in their lives. They could have sickness, mental illness. But don't have any expectations. Because eventually you will attract the right types of people into your life. But be aware of what you're allowing to influence you. Because eventually, it's like that saying, so a man thinketh, so he become. First, it's what you think of yourself. That's what you're projecting, and that's what you're attracting. You're putting out that draw, that magnetic draw. You know, and it's all in how you see yourself. It's how you think. It's how you perceive the world. It's how you allow people to label you. And if you believe that, then you will become that. You will attract what you are, who you are. If you love yourself, you will attract people who love themselves. And they'll be able to love you the right way. Because they know self-love is what fills that hole, that void. It's not someone else. You guys have an awesome day, and I hope this was helpful. And I can't wait to put out more videos. And if this had an impact on you and it helped you out at all, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Much love. Peace.